McClain today. We'll go right into questions.
So you've been in the SEC for a number of years. What was your kind of, from afar, your view of Tennessee's program?
Well, I think when you talk about Tennessee, you start with toughness and winning. When you put those two things together, that's what this program has been. And not just winning, but Elite Eights, back-to-back Elite Eights, and at the top of the SEC, which, as we all know, a year ago was the best conference in the country and the best it had ever been.
Your first impressions of this roster?
Well, again, the guys just getting in here and knowing the returning guys, knowing the recruits. It's a very talented roster. It's a roster that's built to play the way Coach plays. And you know, in the world we're living in today, you replace and you get ready for another championship run. There is no, well, we'll wait for a year. No, you're losing great players, which there's no question we did, and yet you're plugging in and getting ready for guys that fit right into the culture.
What did your relationship with Rick look like, and what led you to agree to join his staff?
Well, we go back quite a ways, and from the time he was at Providence to when I was a junior college coach, and we've known each other through the years and coached against each other, but more of a relationship out of respect and knowing what he's done in his career and what I've been fortunate to be able to be a part of in my career.
Is working for Rodney pretty similar to working for Rick?
Well, I don't know. This will be my first time with Rick, but you know what? I've heard a lot of stories, so I think I'm ready for it. But yeah, there's no question. Coach had a great influence on Rodney, and his name would be brought up a lot around the office in Texas. So no, there's no question. I've got it. And then having competed against him at Texas and Tennessee, it seemed like we were always playing. Then no, I think it gave me a great feel of what Coach does every day.
Just to jump in real quick, if you guys want to say your names and affiliations when you're asking, just so that Steve and Amara could get used to who's who, feel free.
Mike Wilson, Knoxville News Sentinel.
There we go. Great job.
Don't mean to make it too long. We'll just figure it helps them.
He pays attention. Put that out there.
Got a little nervous about it.
Yeah. You have a pretty good relationship with Nate and Matt. What's it like to get to coach Nate now?
Well, you know, I recruited him for 2 years and then didn't get him. So to be able to, when we knew this was going to work out, you know, he's an unbelievable young man, and you start there with him. You know, when I started recruiting him 2 years ago, that's what attracted you, was just a high-level kid from a high-level family and the people around him. And so, yeah, I guess I lost, but got the opportunity to come here and get a chance to coach him.
Rick Russo, WDLT here in Knoxville. What Rick's been able to build over the last decade or so, was that a draw to see what the Big Orange Country has done and gotten behind basketball here in Tennessee?
Well, there's no question, and if you're a basketball purist, you follow what people do, and when you look at Coach's track record everywhere he's been, it ends up in high-level winning, and then having, I don't know whether it was a privilege, but we came in here 3 years ago with a team that was highly ranked and went to the Elite Eight and came in here and got our tails whipped by about 20, and I saw what the Vol Nation was all about, and so there was no question, having seen all that, then when Coach called, yeah, no, I was all in to come be a part of it.
Reese Van Assen, WATE, give you a chance to brag about yourself, but what do you think you can bring that will help this program excel? Well,
you know, you come into a new environment and you hope what you bring is just an energy, a familiarity to a degree of what Coach expects. And I think this in coaching, you always try to be a part of somewhere that the beliefs are a lot what you've grown up with. And knowing Coach Polinsky, knowing Coach Gainey, knowing the people that are involved in this program. We've got one of the best strength coaches in the country. I'd already heard about him before I ever walked in here. And so you try to find a match that you know you can walk in and hopefully just continue to build on what the energy and the enthusiasm in the program, and yet understand it's not about you. I think that's the motto of this program. It's not about one individual, and those are the best teams, you know, that I've ever been a part of, is when everybody just does their job, and the end result is what happens on the court. And I feel fortunate to be here and be a part of that.
Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider. I think Tennessee was one of 2 programs that didn't lose a scholarship player to the transfer portal. In this day and age, what does that say about what Rick's built here?
Well, it tells you all about coach and the staff. You don't lose players because guys want to be here. It tells you about Vol Nation. It tells you about Danny White, the athletic director. You go up and down the University of Tennessee's athletic department, and from the day I've got here, you find nothing but people that want to help, want to, how can we make it easier for you? And so you go back to your question, why do kids not leave here? Because they've got everything they could ask for here. They've got an elite head coach who put together an elite staff, and Justin Gainey, a guy that should be a head coach right now. You're talking about an environment where what's a kid going to get better anywhere else? And I think what coach has proven over time is if you stay with him, you'll eventually get where you want to get. And some people can't prove that. That's why they lose players. Coach has proven he can do it.
Been the key with 24/7 Sports. Do you have any prior relationships with any of the other players in addition to Nate?
No, not really. I knew about Jacoby, of course, being in the portal. Everybody knows about everybody, but no, I played against, of course, Vanderbilt, so I knew about him. And then the young kids, I'd seen a lot of them in the NBA Top 100 camp a year ago. So you kind of have a feel for everybody.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.